The room was quiet. Inside Earth's United Command Center, high above the clouds in orbit, dozens of generals, scientists, and world leaders sat in silence. The massive screen at the front flickered. Static buzzed for a moment. Then the signal came in. A cold alien voice echoed across the speakers. "Let this be your warning, Earth." The image cleared. On the screen, 5 human generals stood chained. Their uniforms were torn. Blood stained their faces. Behind them stood tall, silver-armored soldiers, Zarn executioners, known for killing. Without feeling, President Aisha Monroe's eyes narrowed. She said nothing. The broadcast continued. One by one, the generals were forced to kneel. The alien crowd in the background cheered dozens of alien species who served the Zarn Dominion. A red blade hummed. A flash of light. One general's head hit the floor. Screams broke out in the command center. A woman fainted. A young tech officer vomited. But the president. She watched without blinking. The alien voice spoke again. Earth must learn. Earth must obey. Your leaders are gone. Surrender or be next. The screen went black. 10 minutes passed. No one moved. No one spoke. Then, slowly, the president stood. Her voice was calm, cold. We will not send words. We will send fire. Across Earth and its colonies, the video was shared. Billions watched in shock, horror, and rage. Children saw their heroes die. Soldiers saw their commanders beheaded. Fathers, mothers, brothers, and daughters clenched their fists. The video spread faster than anything in human history. Not because it was shared, but because everyone watched it once. And no one ever forgot. In the Martian black docks, old warships were uncovered, hidden under red sand for decades. In Europa's ice bunkers, cold AI cores began to hum. On Titans, shadow stations, Earth's most dangerous soldiers received one simple order. Ghost Protocol. Initiate. They didn't ask questions. They didn't need to. In the far end of the galaxy, on a moon named Varnik 3, an alien child named Tira was watching the video on a stolen Earth device. Her father, a traitor, looked nervous. "Shouldn't watch this," he warned. But Tira didn't look away. She whispered, "Why are humans so quiet?" Her father shook his head. "They're not quiet. They're preparing." On Earth, President Monroe stood before the Global Council. The Zarn think they've won. They think killing our leaders will break us, but they've made the worst mistake in history. She paused. They didn't kill our generals. They gave us permission. A few council members looked confused. The defense minister asked, "Permission for what?" She looked him in the eye. Permission to end them. In deep space, hidden Earth fleets began moving. Ships with no IDs, no lights, no heat signatures. Only silence. The Zarn Dominion never saw them coming. Not yet, but they would. That night, the stars seemed darker. As if the galaxy knew something terrible had awakened. Not rage. Not revenge. Humanity. Real humanity. And this time, no mercy. Asterisk. The Galactic Council met on Archon 7, a shining city floating above clouds made of crystal gas. Delegates from over 400 species filled the Great Hall, their voices buzzing in hundreds of languages. But one name echoed above them all: Earth. A slender insectoid diplomat tapped his claws on the table. Humans are overreacting. The Zarn only removed a few leaders. That is, expected punishment. A large jelly-like being wobbled with amusement. And what do these hair-covered apes plan to do? Cry? Laughter filled the room. But one delegate didn't laugh. Tharia Velos, a young avian with silver feathers and sharp violet eyes, stood slowly. "You're all fools," she said calmly. "You think humans are like us. They are not." The hall went silent. They grieve in silence. And they act without warning. When their history books speak of war, they use one word again and again: total. A grayscale being scoffed. Are you afraid of a farming species that only joined the stars 50 years ago? Thari stared at him. You should be. Meanwhile, back on Earth, secret bunkers opened across the planet. Deep under Antarctica, inside Facility 07, a voice echoed. Through an icy command chamber. Phase 2 activated. Ghosts are loose. A wall screen showed red dots: Earth's elite. Covert forces disappearing from bases. Some headed to dead zones in deep space. Others infiltrated Zarn-controlled worlds wearing alien faces. And in orbit, the Valkyrie-class warship Oblivion vanished into quantum shadows. Its mission classified. Back on Archon 7. Thari tried to warn the Council again. You all mocked Earth's silence. But has anyone noticed? Human embassies are closed. Their trade ships are gone. No messages. No signals. A reptilian ambassador laughed. Maybe they're sulking. No, Thari said softly. They're coming. In Zarn territory, the first message arrived. It wasn't sent through official channels. It was carved into the hull of a drifting cargo ship, written in blood-red plasma. This is the last mercy you will ever see. Inside the ship, 40 Zarn soldiers, all dead. Number, wounds, no sound, just fear on their faces. Like they saw something. Unholy. The Zarn High Warlord, Braskur, saw the footage and slammed his fist on the console. Cowards. They hide and play games. I want Earth crushed. But his advisors hesitated. Sir, their fleets are moving like shadows. Their colonies are locked tight. We can't track them. Rask growled. Then bait them. Execute 10 more prisoners. Humans don't act unless you push harder. He was wrong. They were already acting. On a quiet moon named Tilvar 6, a Zarn weapons lab suddenly went dark. Satellites showed nothing. Patrols sent in found only scorched ground. And a message burned into steel. One for each general. The Council finally received the full footage. Humans weren't reacting. They were executing a plan. One no one could stop. On Earth, President Monroe addressed the Global Defense Network. This is not war. This is not justice. This is something older. She looked straight into the camera. They took 5 of ours. Now they will learn what 5 losses truly cost. Across the stars, the countdown had begun. The Council still didn't believe it. But soon they would. Asterisk. Far beyond the outer colonies, past known hyperlanes and star routes, the space was empty. At least, that's what alien sensors said. But something was out there. Something cold, something quiet. The Zarn, Dominion's border scouts, began reporting. Strange signals, then going silent. Not from battle. Not from damage. Just gone. No wreckage. No distress calls. Just missing. In the dark core of a dying system, an old station known as Vale 9 waited for its next shipment. It never came. Instead, the stars dimmed. A whisper crackled through the station's comms. Your judgment begins now. Seconds later, every system shut down. Lights off. Gravity lost. Air vanished. By the time Zarn Command arrived, the station was spinning, lifeless. A single message was burned into the floor in molten alien letters. Ghost protocol delivered. The Zarn Empire was confused. Their empire had crushed 38 civilizations. They had enslaved planets, broken rebellions, and starved moons into surrender. But this was different. There were no armies marching forward. No grand fleets visible. Just vanishing. Ships, stations, command posts. Gone. And always one symbol left behind. A red, winged skull. The Zarn High Warlord shouted, "They are cowards. Hit Earth's colonies, burned their soil. But the advisors looked at him in silence. One of them finally whispered, "Sir, we don't know where Earth's real colonies are anymore. How is that possible? We think they've moved." Meanwhile, inside Earth's Ghost Fleet Command, buried inside a black dwarf star, Captain Lenora Voss stood before her team. 10 ships surrounded her, all silent. No windows, no signals. Pure void metal, invisible to almost all scans, each crew. Wore black suits, no names. Just ranks and kill counts. Target sectors confirmed, Voss said calmly. No warnings. No negotiations. A young lieutenant asked, "What about survivors?" She looked him in the eye. Humanity gave mercy for centuries. That time is over. Back in council space, Thari, the only one who had warned them, watched the latest reports with dread. 15 systems lost in 5 days. No wars. No battles. Just. Deletion.1 data log showed a Zarn ship screaming into the void, chased by nothing visible. The final audio? A whisper in English. "You took 5. We take 500. The Galactic Council panicked. They sent envoys. Messages. Pleas for talks. Earth didn't answer. Not once, not even to acknowledge receipt. On one Zarn-controlled planet, a massive celebration was held to mock Earth's weakness. Statues of the 5 executed generals were melted down in front of crowds. They laughed. They danced. Until the sky went dark. 12 human stealth bombers appeared without warning. No sound. No energy spikes. Within 18 seconds, the entire capital turned to ash. The statues melted again, this time from heat. And from orbit, the message was clear. For General Hayes. Humanity didn't come with horns or fire. They came like winter. No screams. Just silence. Falling over the stars. By the end of the week, over 47 Zarn ships had disappeared. Alien analysts created a new term. Ghost War. But humanity didn't call it that. They called it balance. Asterisk, Zarn Prime, the heart of the Dominion. Never slept. It was a world of glowing towers, orbital rings, and 10 billion citizens. Their empire stretched across sectors. Their rule was iron. Their pride was unmatched. And yet, tonight, the sky was too quiet. High. Warlord Braskor stood in his command chamber, surrounded by blinking screens and frightened advisors. His claws tapped the stone table. "Where is Station Axer?" He growled. No one answered. He slammed his fist down. That was a command post, with 3,000 soldiers. "Where are they?" An officer whispered, trembling. "Gone, sir. Not destroyed. Just empty. No signs of battle. No signals." Then the reports began to arrive. One after another. 3 cities on Zarkal 4. Dark. Streets filled with vehicles, doors open, food still warm, but no people. A military base on Frava 9. Every security drone offline. No bodies, just helmets. Arranged neatly in the center. A spaceport on Clever Station. All ships intact. Lights still on. But not a single voice heard. Only one sound on repeat. For General Tran. High Warlord Brask shouted, "They're playing mind games." But deep inside, he felt something worse than anger. He felt something new. Fear. Across the galaxy. Humans moved like shadows. They didn't invade. They erased. Commander Elias Vorn, leader of Earth's Black Hammer unit, stood on a destroyed relay tower orbiting Icarus 7. Around him floated pieces of a Zarn station cut clean, not blown apart. He turned to his squad. "No survivors," he said. "But sir," one soldier asked, "why didn't we leave a message?" Elias smiled coldly. "We already did. Every time we don't speak, they scream louder. On Zarn Prime, children cried in schools. They had nightmares of red eyes in the dark. Priests claimed the ghosts of Earth's generals were coming for revenge. Rumors spread of invisible soldiers walking through walls, of humans who could see in pitch darkness, of whispers in dreams. The Zarn elite began to flee. Their gold ships tried to reach neutral zones. Some exploded before leaving orbit. Others simply vanished mid-jump. One ship reappeared after 2 hours, with every passenger missing and only the pilot's hands left gripping the controls. Burned into the metal, the Council finally begged Earth for peace. They sent fleets carrying white flags, but Earth never responded. The humans didn't want talks, wanted balance. On a hidden moon, inside a stone bunker beneath the ice, Earth's General Sophia Reyes spoke to her team. Her voice was calm, measured. They thought killing 5 of us would end Earth's fire. They were wrong. They didn't kill 5 generals. They lit 5 torches, and we're burning everything down. In one day, 12 cities across 4 Zarn planets shut down. No shots fired, just lights turning off, screens going black, crowds disappearing like smoke. One alien survivor recorded a final message: they don't attack, they just arrive. And when you blink, they're gone. But you are too. By now, the galaxy watched in silence. Other empires, once amused by Earth, now locked their borders and whispered to each other. Never provoke the quiet ones. Because when humanity goes quiet, it means the screams haven't started yet. Asterisk, the sky above Zarn Prime was clear, until it wasn't. At exactly 0400 hours, local time, the stars blinked. Then vanished, one by one, not because the sun dimmed, but because something huge was moving between them. The Zarn people looked up in confusion. Some gasped. Others dropped their belongings. Children pointed. Soldiers scrambled. A red light pulsed across the sky, not from their system, but from above. Thousands of dark shapes appeared, black, sleek, and silent. So many that they covered the entire upper atmosphere. Not warships in formation. These were not fleets. These were warnings written in metal. A message rang out, not on any frequency. It wasn't transmitted. It was burned into every screen, on every planet, every station, every console. Even on the inside of helmets. In glowing red letters. We watched. We waited. Now we returned the favor. The ships moved as one. No sound, no visible thrust. But fast, so fast that planetary scanners glitched. Each ship bore no flag, no nation, no color except a small emblem. 5 silver stars, 1 red skull. On Earth, President Monroe stood before her war cabinet. They killed our peace, she said. They took 5 names from us. She paused, her voice calm, yet sharp as a blade. Now we take 5 worlds, 1 for each. And the sky will remember. The first strike came seconds later. Zarn military bases tried to activate shields, but the satellites controlling them? Gone. Already hacked. Already destroyed, before they even knew they were under attack. From orbit, human ships dropped specialized kinetic rods, dense, untraceable projectiles that hit with the force of nuclear bombs, but without radiation. Cities disappeared. Mountains cracked. Seas oiled. In one area. 5 Zarn capital ships rose from the ground to engage. They vanished before they could fire. One was later found, gently floating in deep space, with no damage, no crew, only a single human maid. Note tied to the command chair: General Tran sends his regards. All across the Zarn Dominion, skies turned red. Not from explosions, but from the color of Earth's stealth satellites shining red before every strike. A warning? No. A countdown. Asterisk. The sky above Zarn Prime was clear, until it wasn't. At exactly 400 hours local time, the stars blinked. Then vanished, one by one. not because the sun dimmed, but because something huge was moving between them. The Zarn people looked up in confusion. Some gasped. Others dropped their belongings. Children pointed. Soldiers scrambled. A red light pulsed across the sky, not from their system, but from above. Thousands of dark shapes appeared, black, sleek, and silent. So many that they covered the entire upper atmosphere. Not warships in formation. These were not fleets. These were warnings written in metal. A message rang out, not on any frequency. It wasn't transmitted. It was burned into every screen, on every planet, every station, every console. Even on the inside of helmets. In glowing red letters. We watched. We waited. Now we returned the favor. The ships moved as one. No sound, no visible thrust. But fast, so fast that planetary scanners glitched. Each ship bore no flag, no nation, no color except a small emblem. 5 silver stars, 1 red skull. On Earth, President Monroe stood before her war cabinet. They killed our peace, she said. They took 5 names from us. She paused, her voice calm, yet sharp as a blade. Now we take 5 worlds, 1 for each, and the sky will remember. The first strike came seconds later. Zarn military bases tried to activate shields. The satellites controlling them? Gone. Already hacked. Already destroyed. Before they even knew they were under attack. Asterisk. From orbit, human ships dropped specialized kinetic rods, dense, untraceable projectiles that hit with the force of nuclear bombs, but without radiation. Cities disappeared. Mountains cracked. Seas boiled. In one area. 5 Zarn capital ships rose. From the ground to engage. They vanished before they could fire. One was later found gently floating in deep space, with no damage, no crew. Only a single human-made note tied to the command chair. General Tran sends his regards. All across the Zarn Dominion, skies turned red. Not from explosions, but from the color of Earth's stealth satellites shining red before every strike. A warning? No. A countdown. The Zarn High Warlord finally broke. In a private room, far below. Surface, he screamed into a communicator. Tell them we surrender. Tell them we'll pay. We'll give Earth tribute. We'll give them planets. But the screen stayed black. No reply. Just a soft red glow filling the chamber. Then a message appeared. This is not about tribute. This is about memory. Aboard the human flagship Iron Mercy, Commander Elias Vorn gave the final orders. Leave no fire uncontrolled. Leave no scream unanswered. In the capital city of Dorkar, citizens rushed to shelters. They begged their gods, their leaders, their machines. Nothing answered. Only silence. And then the sky rained metal, precision strikes. No wasted movement. No sound of ships overhead. Only destruction falling like judgment. Some Zarn soldiers tried to escape. Some dropped their weapons. It didn't matter. Humanity wasn't targeting soldiers any more. They were targeting the Empire. Across the galaxy, thousands of species watched the live feeds. A young ambassador whispered in her embassy, "This isn't war. This is a lesson." Another answered softly, "No, this is a funeral." By nightfall, Zarn Prime was quiet. No ships moved. No broadcasts escaped. The planet's core systems were still alive, but the will to rule was dead, buried under ash and fear. And above it all, Earth's armada waited. Not to conquer, not to take, just to make sure everyone remembered what silence meant when humanity was involved. Asterisk. The sun rose over Zarn Prime, but no one cheered. No one walked the streets. No soldiers patrolled. No ships launched. The once mighty world was still breathing, but barely. Ash floated through the air like black snow. Fires burned quietly in the ruins. And high above the silence, Earth's warships waited, watching, not moving, not celebrating, because this wasn't victory. This was a warning to the galaxy. The Zaran Dominion had ruled for 1,000 years. They had crushed rebellions, burned entire species into memory, laughed at peace. Mocked Earth. But in less than one cycle, they lost everything. The Galactic Council received over 200 distress calls, cries from Zaran-controlled planets, screens from cities going dark, begging for help. The Council tried to respond, but their fleets were stopped, not by fire, but by code. Humanity had infiltrated their systems. Their ships wouldn't launch. Their gates wouldn't open. One word appeared on all terminals: stay out. Across 5 star systems, Earth's ghost fleets worked without sleep. Cities were dismantled. Military research labs erased. Zaran leaders gone, taken, disappeared. Not killed. Vanished. No graves. No trials. Only fear. Aboard the command ship Oblivion, Captain Lenara Voss watched a hologram of the Zaran territories. Half of it was red. The other half was gray, meaning unknown. She smiled slightly. They think we want to rule, she said, but all we want is quiet. In a dark council room on Velari Station, the leaders of 22 alien empires met in secret. They whispered. Shook. Argued. Double quotes. What if they come for us next? Should we offer peace? Should we surrender before it begins? But one elder leaned forward and said, they only came for the ones who spilled first blood. Don't give them a reason. Don't become a memory. On Zaran Prime, in the center of the ruined capital, stood a single statue, not built by humans, but left behind by them. It showed 5 human generals standing tall, heads high. And at their feet, the inscription, they killed our names, so we became legend. The Zaran Dominion, an empire of cruelty, dominance, and fear, collapsed. Its people turned on each other. No one wanted to be the last one standing when Earth looked their way. Within weeks, the great military engine of the Zaran vanished, gone without a treaty, without a word. Only dust remained. On Earth, no celebrations were held, no parades. No songs. Only silence. The people mourned their lost generals. They looked at the stars. And then they looked away. In a small school on Mars, a child asked her teacher, what does annihilation mean? The teacher paused, then answered, it means no one forgot. Back in deep space, the stars seemed brighter, not because peace had returned, but because the noise had stopped. And in that silence, the galaxy listened, because they finally understood what humanity meant when they said, you killed our generals, so we ended your empire. Asterisk, there was no news from Zaran space. Not a whisper, not a signal, only silence, the kind of silence that makes stars hold their breath, the kind that wraps around the galaxy like a cold blanket. The once mighty Zaran Dominion was gone. Not conquered. Not rebuilt. Just erased. Worlds now floated abandoned. Empty towers. Cold machines. Cracked flags flapping in forgotten winds. Satellites showed ghost cities. Whole moons with doors open and lights still on, but no one left to turn them off. In the center of what remained, the last beacon of Zaran Prime pulsed a single message every hour. We were warned. On Earth, the world turned slowly. People returned to their lives. Factories restarted. Colonies opened communications again. But everything felt different. Not because of pride. Not even relief. But because they had crossed a line they swore never to cross. And they had done it without joy. Without mercy. Without a second thought. President Ashia Monroe sat alone in her office. The war map was gone. The walls were bare. Her eyes were red, not from anger, but from memory. We didn't want this, she whispered, but we finished it. Behind her, a plaque had been placed on the wall. It read, "For the Five, for all of us, never again, unless we must." In the Galactic Council, no one spoke of Earth-in jokes anymore. Treaties were signed quietly. Trade resumed, but no delegate dared question a human diplomat's silence, because now silence was a language they understood. On the edge of the galaxy, a lone human ship stopped at a neutral station. An alien boy approached the captain, wide-eyed. "Are you one of them?" he asked. "One of who?" the captain replied. "The humans," the boy whispered. "The ones who made the sky red." The captain smiled softly. "No," he said, "that wasn't us." The boy blinked. "It wasn't?" The captain leaned down. "That was what happens when you forget we bleed." Somewhere in deep space, a fleet of Earth's ghost ships still moved silent, hidden, watching, not because they were hunting, but because the stars still carried echoes of the past. And if anyone forgot what was buried beneath the ash of Zorn, prime humanity would remind them. Back on Earth, 5 statues stood in a quiet park near the old war museum. Each one showed a general, not in battle pose, but standing peacefully, with hands behind their backs, looking up at the stars. Children passed by and asked their parents, who were they? And every parent, no matter what day, would answer, they were the reason the galaxy knows our silence is the last thing you should ever hear. In the end, there was no final shot. No last battle. No great speech. Only a single truth written in every history book after that day. They killed our generals. Humanity answered with silence, and the galaxy will never forget that silence. Roared. The end, asterisk.